Hi everyone. I hope you're having a great day. I hope it's a good day in your little corner of the world. It's a good day in my corner of the world. It's a sunny day. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful winter day. And I woke up rejuvenated and rested because I was able to have a few hours of deep sleep last night, and I haven't been sleeping very well because I've just been taking care of a lot of things, so it was nice to be able to rest last night. But anyway, and also excuse for the pimple patch. I'm still getting acne even though I'm in my late 20s. I still get acne, so I'm sorry. It's not a piece of skin hanging out. It's just a pimple patch. Pimple that I popped. Sorry if that was TMI. Sometimes I don't know what grosses other people out. Like, to me, this is normal. It's part of the human body. It's part of being alive. We all go through this. But anyway, I guess this is related to a topic that I wanted to talk about, and it's how my whole life I've felt weird. I've always felt weird. And to give you a little context or a little background about my life, I never fit in when I was a kid. I was bullied, I was ostracized, I was not included when I was a kid. I went through a lot, and a lot of the bullying that happened to me was psychological bullying, and a lot of gaslighting and things like that. And so I was never able to make friends in elementary school or in middle school. I was always the ugly duckling, and I was always ostracized. And I'm talking about this not because I'm sad about it or, oh, poor me. But from a very young age, I felt like I didn't fit in, and I was not included. And you know what they say, the first 7 years of your life is the foundation of who you are, like your personality, how you will carry yourself out in the world. The first 7 years of your life are that foundation because you're making a lot of neural pathways and neural connections in your brain and making sense of the world. And whatever happens to you in those first 7 years will determine certain behaviors when you're an adult. And so, for example, if you're a codependent adult, that may stem from something that you went through as a child. Maybe as a child you felt like your parents abandoned you, or you didn't have a guardian to really make you feel safe. And now that you're an adult, maybe you're clingy, or you're codependent and you always need to be with a partner. Or maybe the opposite thing happened to you. Maybe your parents were overprotective, and now that you're an adult, you're somebody that feels like the world is an unsafe place. And so all of these things, what I'm trying to say is that what happens in our childhood is carried over to our adulthood. And so in my childhood, I did not feel like I was able to fit in. I always felt like a fish out of water. And the girls made that clear to me. The girls in elementary school and in middle school made that very clear to me, that they did not want me to be around. I would sit at lunch at their table, and they would always move because they didn't want to sit at a table that I was sitting in. They wouldn't include me in their games. They would spread gossip about me. They would, they were a little bit, they would push me or hit me, but that was on rarer occasions. It was more psychological. There was a lot of gaslighting, because when I told my teachers what was going on, the girls denied it, or the girls denied knowing what was going on, or that was not their intentions. And so anyways, there were a lot of psychological games. What I'm trying to say is that my foundation, the message that I got was, you don't belong. You're not accepted for who you are. And so people literally called me weird, or they called me names and things like that. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, this is not me to throw a pity party here. Oh, poor me. I was bullied in school, because that's not unique. It happens to everybody. Everybody gets bullied in school, or most people get bullied in school, and that's just part of life, you know? But what I'm trying to say is that your foundation, the messages that you get from your childhood, will get carried over to your adulthood and will determine certain behaviors, right? And so I was, and I still do, I feel like a fish out of water in many situations, and I feel weird sometimes. I feel like I don't fit in, or I have to tone down my weirdness, which is just me being me, because people won't accept me for who I am. And I felt like in my early 20s, I felt like I couldn't find that person to really accept me for who I am. Because who I am, and I know you can't tell from a video, I'm just a goofy, silly, quirky, idiosyncratic person. That's how I can describe myself when I've tried to observe myself from a third person point of view. And only the people really, really, really closest to me get to see that version of me. And that's my true self-expression. That's when I'm happy, I'm goofy, and I'm quirky, and I'm weird, and I make really bad dad jokes that are so bad that they're funny. I have a terrible, ugly laugh. And yeah, that's me. And I'm weird, okay? But I've learned to accept that. When I was in my early 20s, I'm in my late 20s now, I felt like I had to blend in. I had to find my posse. And I do have close friends in my life that I express myself in a very authentic way with them. But even then, I feel like I tone down a little bit so they don't think I'm weird or crazy. But I feel accepted. But anyway, when I was in my early 20s, I felt like, oh my God, I just have to be like the other people. I have to be into these trends and into these kind of things, or into this kind of music. And in reality, I didn't like that kind of music, or I wasn't into those trends, or I wasn't into that kind of clothes or those brands. I wasn't into that. And now, at this point in my life, I'm just like, fuck it. Fuck it. I am me. Okay? I am me. I am weird, yes. I don't know. I'm just weird, okay? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being quirky. I'm okay with being goofy now with others. Obviously, you have to determine when you're going to be silly, determine the occasion, because if it's a serious situation and there's some paranormal shit happening around you, you're not going to be like, ha 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 ha, oh my God. And you have to step up, right? You have to step up sometimes, and you can't be. But in situations where you don't really have to take your life so seriously, I'm usually like silly and goofy, and I make jokes. I make terrible jokes. And when I'm like that with people that have just met me, they kind of give me a weird look, and they're like, I can tell that they're kind of weirded out by my behavior. But I've learned to not care. I've learned to not care what they think, because you know what? I'm not harming anybody, and I'm not hurting myself, and I'm not denigrating anybody, and I'm not denigrating myself. So I can express myself however way I feel fit that makes me feel joy. And I feel like when I'm in a state of joy, when I'm in a state of just authenticity, I feel more free to express that side of me, even with people that I'm not close with. And of course I feel self-doubt sometimes. Of course I feel like, oh my God, Megan, you're talking too loud, or oh my God, you're talking too quiet, or oh my God, you shouldn't have said that. Oh my God, I'm getting tongue twisted, you know? And I'm just like, Megan, you're doing the best you can. You don't know how to be a human. You don't know how to, nobody gave you an instruction book. You don't know how to function in this society because there are so many fucking rules that you don't know which ones limit your self-expression. So you might as well express yourself in the most authentic way you can. Because you know what? You're only here for a temporary amount of time. You don't know when you're gonna die. You don't know when it's gonna be your last day. So you might as well be yourself and discover who you are and who you were meant to be. Your own self-expression, how consciousness wants to express itself in this lifetime. How does this spirit want to express itself? And so I give myself those little pep talks. Sorry, I gave myself a pep talk right there. But I try and remind myself that I'm only here for a temporary amount of time, and as long as I'm not harming others or harming myself, you know, if there are some asshole behaviors out there, okay? If you're being an asshole to people, or you're being an asshole to yourself as well, that could be, maybe you're bullying yourself, then that's not helpful. How is that going to help you with your growth, right? How is that going to help you feel happy, or even feel any kind of joy, if you're working or you're acting from a place of negativity? You're acting from a place of anger, right? And of course, I've talked about it before, anger is healthy when it's channeled in a healthy way, and everybody feels angry, but you can't, and this is what happens when you don't channel it in a healthy way. Some people, they don't channel their anger in a healthy way, and they start lashing out at the whole entire world and being angry with the world, even though the world isn't responsible for everything that happened to them. And so, anyway, those people are not acting from a place of joy or a place of happiness. They're acting from a place of woundedness. And so as long as I'm not acting in that way, and I'm not harming others, harming myself, or belittling others or belittling myself, it's okay for me to express who I am. It's okay for me to be quirky and goofy and funny and silly and weird. It's fucking okay for me to be that way. And it's okay if you're that way too. It's okay to be silly and goofy, because how fucking boring it is to be a robot. Have you seen the robots out there? There are some robots out there that I've met. I've tried to be lighthearted with them, and I've tried to crack some jokes with them, but they just won't laugh because they're so miserable or so in their heads about they have to show the perfect persona, right? They're boring as fuck. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry if you're like that. I don't mean to judge, but oh man, it just seems like a very robotic life to me. And maybe if you're like that, can you please explain why? And I'm going to apologize if I'm being disrespectful, and if I'm pulling a cord. But just be yourself. Be weird. It's okay. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be yourself and express yourself however you want. However makes you feel free, not from a place of, oh, I want to be unique. No, because I've seen those hipsters or those people that dress in very unique ways. I'm not judging them for that, but sometimes they want to be so unique that they blend into a certain group, like the hipsters. They want to be so unique in their style that they end up just blending in with the rest of them, and they become a label of hipsters, right? But I'm not saying to express yourself to prove to others that you're unique, or like, hey, look at me, I'm not like you kind of thing. No, because that's not from a place of freedom. That's also from a place that also comes from a place of ego, of arrogance to a certain extent. And so being able to express yourself freely means when I'm in my state of joy, in my state of happiness, how do I feel? Am I quirky? Am I goofy? Do I make jokes? How am I? How do I act? And whenever you channel that, because you can't just fake being happy, but if you think back to the times where you've been happy and you've been yourself and you felt really inside of your body, whenever you feel like that in the future, notice how you act. And usually that is indicative of your natural expression, your natural self. And so what I'm trying to say is that people are going to pathologize you as weird. And sometimes they'll pathologize you with certain mental disorders. Like they'll say, oh, this person must be autistic. I've had people call me autistic or on the spectrum or neurodivergent. You know what? And I believed these people at some point, and I went to the doctor, I got screened, and I wasn't found with any of the spectrum disorders. And I read once that, even if you have autism, even if you have any kind of other on the spectrum disorder, and I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the correct term, if disorder is the correct term. If that's not the correct term, please correct me. But it doesn't matter. These disorders are not a defect, they're an asset. Because you can be your own quirky self. You don't fit in, okay? And in my case, I wasn't diagnosed with any of these things, but I guess I just realized I was playing weird. I guess I realized, like, hey, I guess I can't pathologize myself as this or that, or I'm just myself. And yes, that's going to be weird to others, but I'm expressing myself the way I'm supposed to express myself, the way that feels free within me. And so what I'm trying to say is that you might be on the spectrum. Some people might think you're on the spectrum for being different. And that may be true or that may be untrue for you. What I'm trying to say is it's okay if you're weird. It's not a defect, it's an asset, okay? Whatever brings you joy, who gives a fuck what other people think, okay? You're not living their life and they're not living your life. Live your own life. Don't be afraid to express yourself. Express your weird. Other people are going to perceive it as weird, but it's not really weird. It's just you being you. And when you are able to express yourself authentically, other people will perceive it as weird because they'll think, like, man, that person isn't following societal standards. But what they don't realize is that they're stuck in societal standards. They're in the Alcatraz island and they're stuck in their own with the societal standards of how they're supposed to act. And you're not. You're free. So while they're stuck in their little island of how they're supposed to act and what they're supposed to like and what they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to be or what trends they're supposed to follow, they're stuck in their little island. You're out in the great outdoors. You know? You're a whale. You can swim through the whole ocean. You're free. You're not stuck in a little tiny island. You're free. You can express yourself and express your little whale self the best way you know how. And you're free with the other little critters in the ocean. You could be a little mermaid if you want. Okay? Or a siren or what is it, the Celtic one? Selkie, right? Whatever the fuck you want to be. You're free. You're in your own ocean of awesomeness. Okay? And they're in their own little island of, oh, I need to be like this in this society and I need to act this way. And if people don't act that way, they're fucking weird. Okay, well, I'd rather be in my own ocean of weird than in your own little island of societal expectations. So don't be afraid to be weird. If you're weird, that's fine. Okay? Don't be afraid to express yourself. Don't be afraid to show who you are to the world. When you're in your state, so that's why I was saying, when you're in your state of joy, in that state of abundance, of prosperity, how do you act? What are your mannerisms? What are your quirks? What are your behaviors? Observe that and notice that that is who you really are when you're really expressing yourself in the most authentic way. So I hope you're able to express yourself in the most authentic way and you don't feel ashamed of being weird or a weirdo, okay? I hope you're having a great day and I hope you have a great life, a great weird life. Have an amazing, weird, strange, fucking life, okay? Have an amazing, weird, fucking life, okay? I hope you have a great day. And thanks for putting up with my weird if you've seen the video this far. Okay? Bye. Peace and love.